Everyone, Les here, Methuselah Mindset. Delighted to share an article with you guys from this year, March 2023, from CNN. I'll include a link below. Strongly recommend you read the entire article. I think you'll agree it makes for some compelling reading. Let's go over some of the highlights, guys. So, just 11 minutes of moderate to vigorous intensity aerobic activity per day could lower your risk of cancer, cardiovascular disease, or premature death, a large new study has found. Higher levels of physical activity have been associated with lower rates of premature death and chronic disease, according to past research. But how the risk levels for these outcomes are affected by the amount of exercise someone gets has been more difficult to determine. To explore this impact, scientists, largely from the University of Cambridge in the United Kingdom, looked at data from 196 studies amounting to more than 30 million adult participants who were followed for 10 years on average. Fairly comprehensive, I think you'll agree. The results of this latest study were published on Tuesday, the 28th of February 2023 in the British Journal of Sports Medicine. The study mainly focused on participants who had done the minimum recommended amount of 150 minutes of exercise per week, or 22 minutes per day, compared with inactive participants. Adults who had done 150 minutes of moderate to vigorous aerobic physical activity per week had a 31% lower risk of dying from any cause, a 29% lower risk of dying from cardiovascular disease, and a 15% lower risk of dying from cancer. Wow. The same amount of exercise was linked with a 27% lower risk of developing cardiovascular disease and a 12% lower risk when it came to cancer. And here's from the experts as well. This is a compelling systemic review of existing research, said CNN medical analyst Dr. Leana Wen, an emergency physician and public health professor at George Washington University who wasn't involved in the research. We already knew that there was a strong correlation between increased physical activity and reduced risk for cardiovascular disease, cancer, and premature death. This research confirms it. And furthermore states that a smaller amount than the 150 minutes of recommended exercise a week can help. Even people who got just half the minimum recommended amount of physical activity benefited. Accumulating 75 minutes of moderate intensity activity per week, about 11 minutes of activity per day, was associated with a 23% lower risk of early death. Getting active for 75 minutes on a weekly basis was also enough to reduce the risk of developing cardiovascular disease by 17%, and cancer by 7%. Beyond 150 minutes per week, any additional benefits were smaller. If you are someone who finds the idea of 150 minutes of moderate intensity physical activity a week a bit daunting, then our findings should be good news, said study author Dr. Soren Brage, group leader of the Physical Activity Epidemiology Group in the Medical Research Council Epidemiology Unit at the University of Cambridge, in a news release. Okay guys, there it is, all right? The facts are irrefutable. This is the latest science, okay? Now, obviously, I want you to do the whole 9 yards and take on exercise in the full capacity. Of course I do, right? That's what we're all about at Methuselah Mindset. But this is the latest science and the facts from the medical experts, all right? Even just 11 minutes per day. You owe it to yourselves to do it, okay? In our golden years, it's so important, all right? So please, click on the link below, read the full article, educate yourselves, but at a minimum, do at least 11 minutes exercise per day. You are going to reap enormous benefits. Okay guys, as always, love, respect one another, and get outside and get moving. Peace out.